you hit the right button. I forgot what time of the day it was.
Fire. It's fuck. Wrong button. Fire. Fire.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Midnight's Edge. I am or After Dark, actually. I am Tom Connors. With me is Mexican Iron Man Mikey, my Doobie brother. How are you doing?
We are Doobie Brothers, Tom. Like the way that band came together was very eclectic. That's how like you and I came together. I was just thinking today, and I hope this cheers you up. If
What a
someone
fool
would have told
believes.
me years ago that I would be on Midnight's Edge After Dark with Tom
You've been like,
Connors.
what's Midnight's Edge After Dark?
No, I would. No, I'm talking. I'm trying to give you a compliment. You are so bad at compliments. You know that. Anyways, I would have been like
Giving and getting, yes.
I'd be like They'd be like and I'd be like and then the fairy would have been like and I'd be like Tom Connors, the Tom Connors, and the fairy would have been and I would have been like Tom Connors, fire.
You're not supposed to use the term fairy anymore.
Elf?
It's a derogatory term.
Elf?
I don't know. Well, you know. That's what I was told. I mean,
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. We're
I
gonna
don't know what I'm supposed to do either.
Yeah, I don't know.
What a fool believes.
Streaming with Tom. The
That's
Tom
it,
has
baby.
loins of fire.
We got Clobby. Clobbering times. How you doing? It's clobbering time.
Clobbering times. Yes. You have the two most important mics on YouTube here. Well, I don't know.
This is true. I didn't even think about it. I got two mics.
Yeah.
I got
he's
two
the
mics and
important
no
one.
turntable.
But of course, Mexican Iron Man is the important one. We all know that. He's the big chief, Mike, and he is.
I'm not even a YouTuber. You are.
Sure, you are. You're a YouTuber. We want you.
He
to
likes
be
to
one.
pretend he's not a YouTuber.
I'm a podcaster, I guess.
He thinks he's better than us.
No.
That's what he thinks it is, Clobbing.
No.
I kind of think he's better than us too, but that's just.
I'm not going to let him know that,
complex.
though.
No, that's true.
Oh my God, I'm just a taco farmer.
He
And
just feed
tonight,
his ego.
I'm going to be an Amazon. Tonight, here on Midnight's Edge, After Dark, stand by, everybody. We're going to have a reveal of the #1 Amazon Rings of Power Mexican elf. Grand reveal coming soon. Stay
You sure it's not a fairy?
No.
Well, I didn't know if we could use that or not. I was just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Wow.
That was set up and knocked down, my friend.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm a Mexican Iron Man fanboy and I'm proud. Good to see you guys. Hello, chat.
I liked it. I thought it was funny. Thank you for being here, Clobby. Of course
Glad to be here, sir. I'm honored to be here.
Good to have you here. Let's see here. We have not much news to really discuss. It's been kind of a slow couple days. There's kind of the calm before the storm, before the Lord of the Rings, which drops here in about 90 plus minutes. So we'll probably wrap things up so you guys can go watch it and check it out if you want to. I know a few of us have to, but reluctantly.
Poor. You have my condolences if you have to watch that. We could talk about Alf, though.
Ha. Actually, something you did say you saw, so we don't piss off Mikey. You said you got to finally see Beavis and Butt-Head.
Yeah, I got to catch up on it. It was great. I mean, this is one of those few things that we loved so long ago that when it comes back, obviously helps that it was resurrected by its creator. That's of course huge. That it doesn't miss a beat. That the guy just because there have even been things that have many years down the road resurrected even by its original creator that don't hold up to what was before.
Right.
But Mike Judge is a genius, and it's just a joy to have this thing back. It's just there were a couple of them that especially like with the movie that came out before these episodes. I laughed till it hurt a couple of times. I'm so happy to have it back. I love those guys.
Speaking of Beavis and Butt-Head, somebody who kind of reminds me of the duo. Hey, Nick.
That because they're
Hey, Tom, Clubby, Mike, you're all hard.
That son of a bitch bear stole my nachos.
Dude, how about that episode earlier today?
Oh, you saw the new one finally?
Dude,
I didn't see it yet.
Oh, dude, it's great.
I mean,
I'm
new one today?
just
Oh,
Klobby may not have seen all that. He's
Wait, I
also
haven't seen today's. There's one that dropped today.
last night, but yeah.
Oh, last night.
on Thursdays they drop.
This one was
Thursdays they
probably my second or least second to least favorite one of the two. It's not horrible by any means, but it's the last episode was just so good.
Oh,
you did
no,
see
that's
the
a
last
hard
one. I
one
know
to
that,
follow up.
Klobby, because that was the nice butthead and the other one where I told them I was a fat idiot who doesn't get off the couch, and they believed me.
Dude, that episode was so good with Butthead being nice. It was like, whoa, this is
great.
a trip to see.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you for asking, Beavis.
Oh, seriously, so
Yeah,
much.
sure. Bless you.
It was great.
The ASMRC stuff too was absolutely hilarious to see. Oh my god! And then of course the very first opener with the bathroom and the Egypt thing.
We need to look for
Came
clues.
out, they thought the girls did it.
Oh, I loved it so far, but I'm glad
Yeah,
you
I didn't see
got a
today's
chance
yet.
to check it out, Klobby.
It was just today. I had not seen the verse 6. It looked like it dropped. Look at it now. It dropped today. So
Yeah,
I'll watch that later.
yeah, that one's pretty good. That's why I was saying, did you see all of them or not? But yeah,
Sorry, I did not realize one had
no,
dropped.
yeah, they just dropped one last night, so that's my reward. I sit through She-Hulk, and when I'm done suffering through that, I get to reward myself with Beavis and Butt-Head.
I know something you want to talk about, Tom. I just thought about the shit.
What's
you
that?
probably want to talk about Samaritan.
Oh yeah, I did enjoy that.
I mean, maybe later. I'm just saying, throwing it out there. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know you'd mentioned it. I saw it. I watched it as well.
I don't know if Mikey or Nick have yet, but
Nope. Boy,
have
I'm
not
feeling
yet, but you
useless. If we
I
don't
have
talk,
a feel.
damn it,
Go ahead, Mike.
damn it, damn it, damn it. All right.
say Mike's gonna love it when he sees it finally.
It's on my
You
list
know-
for this weekend.
You should almost watch it with Mike, with the kid.
Really?
Yeah,
How old is the kid?
yeah, I'd say he might be old enough.
How old is he?
9.
Does he like superhero movies and stuff?
Heck yeah, my kid's like 9 going on 16. He's like he's already like a little charmer and stuff. He was like,
It's pretty
Of
violent,
course.
but I mean, he's pretty violent. But I guess by today's standards, kids watch violent
It's
stuff.
technically only PG-13, believe it or not. Yeah, I mean, it's not as violent as like say Batman v Superman or anything like that, but it's kind of close to that vein.
Yeah,
there's some killing and stuff in it, but it's not
right.
overt.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's true.
But yes, I loved it. It's a throwback to classic 90s and 80s Stallone, mixed with a little bit of modern superheroism, but it feels like a movie that would have been made in the 90s. You get an unapologetic villain for once, who you understand his motivation, but he's not sympathetic.
No,
So you don't have the typical Marvel trope there. The basic story is really interesting. I mean, it is a bit predictable, especially if you're. I'm sure if you're somebody who's read comic books like Klobby, you probably figured it out pretty quick. Oh, you didn't see it coming from a mile away? No. I did. I didn't. I saw it from a mile away. I'm like the first couple times, I'm like, wait a minute here.
My senses must be dulled by crappy modern superhero movies.
Maybe it was because you're just so used to them doing that kind of a thing that you didn't expect it this time out.
I've seen it in comics so many times that maybe I didn't think they would go there. But either way, it was good. It works.
It worked.
It's
all about the execution.
It's even better. But I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Enjoyable film stuff. I'm not too big in the grim and the green. That's the thing about me, and it's obviously when it comes to superpowered being stuff, something like this is fine because they're not established. They're not really Batman or Superman or any of these established characters. So I don't mind it as much when you do it with those, characters that are.
Well, maybe also, did you notice
tropes?
Did you notice also though that part of the idea was the kid was trying to, bring out the good side of him and stuff like that, to where like it is. It's almost like if you replace him with like Ben Affleck or Superman, from the Snyder Verse, and some kid was just trying to get Superman to save a kitten or stop a bank robbery or something. Do some Superman stuff.
Oh yeah, look, it's still there was some. I'm not big, like I said, I'm not big on the grim and the gritty, but they weren't grim and grittying up great characters that don't need that happening to them. They created these characters on their own. It's not like they're doing it to Superman or Batman or somebody like that, so it's fine and it works.
It still has fun with itself, though, even though there is some darkness to it.
Yeah, oh yeah, it'll just say it's thoroughly enjoyable, and I liked it. So.
A lot of humor in it, actually.
We need to see more things like this.
Yeah. I agree. I thought it was very well done. I can't wait to hear what Mikey and Nick think about it as well. Because I have a feeling you're going to like it quite a bit, Mikey.
Yeah, I think they will. And he said he's still, Stallone's still good to see Stallone still out there swinging,
Yeah, right.
See, Nick, I wonder how you'll watch it from a comic book, guru point of view, kind of like Clobby. So we'll see.
Kind of like Clobby in the sense where, it's obviously this is Samaritan's its own thing. It's not like they're taking liberties with a established character. Sylvester Stallone is playing his own original character. So I'm going to treat it on its own merits of his own original character. And like Clobby, I don't mind my occasional dark story. Obviously, I just don't want every character to be translated to Batman, which seems to be the hot fad, especially amongst DC movies. So, yeah, but mostly, I do take it, especially with this being its own original property, I will definitely treat it more so on its own merits.
Yes, and when you do that kind of thing, even with an analog of Superman or something like that, it's perfectly fine. I mean, it can be a good, as long as you're not doing anything to the real deal, like the evil Superman trope makes me sick. I hated it. I always hated it, and now it's even running to the ground even more. But this is not anything like that whatsoever.
No. If anything, it's kind of like a Superman-Batman mix as far as the character-wise.
Right.
But he talks like Rocky.
Yeah, it was good. He's good in it.
I loved it. I thought he did very well. I didn't mind the kid. I know some people were picking on the kid's acting. I'm like, I thought he did just fine.
Yeah, he's a kid. I thought he was all right.
Yeah, I thought he did great. And that's why I think your kid might like it, Mike, is the whole movie is kind of from a kid's point of view. So,
yeah. Yep.
Let's see what we got for super chats. We got Tim Scorpion in the house who said Cruella flopped and it somehow gets a sequel. Are they still
Does it really?
threatening with that? I know they had brought it up. They said, "Oh yeah, we're greenlighting a sequel," but I hadn't heard any movement on it. Well, they did. Didn't they promise Emma Stone a sequel because of the whole Coof thing? That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
That's actually not new news. That actually
Yeah.
almost immediately came out that because of, I guess she had some deal related to box office or something like that. And this was actually the same deal that happened with Captain Marvel. It's just it happened on this movie first.
And this is where I think there's problems with the Flash.
I think you're right. I think you've been saying this. I want everyone to give you some credit, and I'm going on the record. I have been here on these shows with you morning and night, off and on, for months. I was wrong. You were right. There is something financial in this, because for them to miss the tax deadline of mid-August to take this write-off, that means there's people that's got to get paid, Tom.
And I think it's Michael Keaton, because nobody else makes sense, right? Because they've cut him they cut Batgirl. It would make sense if you're removing him from Aquaman. Why wouldn't you just trash the Flash? Right. To me, it's like they have to release it for whatever fucked up reason, whether it's Michael Keaton's back end deal. And maybe the movie is decent enough. That's the thing. And if that's the case, if they're like, look, we might have a better chance at putting this out in theaters and maybe making a couple bucks off it and not having to pay Michael Keaton a dime, as opposed to cutting him like a $15 million check right now or something. You know what I mean? And it probably ain't going to be, it might even be more than that. Because I can't remember how much they shelled out for the other people before. That's the thing, because there was a lot of that going on right after the pandemic when they did those simultaneous releases. And you had Emma Stone and she got her Cruella deal, and then Gal Gadot got a nice size fat check. I think it was around $10 million for Wonder Woman, and so did the director, because they were bitching about it not getting released in theaters or whatever.
There's obviously a lot of stuff going on around, because it was just about 3 or 4 hours ago, Clobby and Nick, that they dropped the announcement that DC Fandome's being canceled.
Didn't hear about that.
Which is a book. Did you guys know about that yet? Or?
I did not know
I had heard some rumblings about it being possible, actually.
Well,
I didn't know they did it.
Here's the article. I'll share it now. Do you want me to?
Oh, I believe it. Here we go. Okay.
This is breaking news as of 2:30. Yeah, 4 or 5 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
DC Fandom canceled.
I would have been sleeping.
Year. Huh?
I said I would have been sleeping.
Yeah, the virtual fandom convention known as DC Fandom won't be taking place this year. Originally launched in 2020, DC Fandom was a virtual convention that covered DC content consisting of comics, TV shows, and movies, with stars and creators holding virtual panels to discuss their many projects. Now, I have covered this extensively over the last 2 years. Like, I've seen all of it. In fact,
that's how we all got together, Mike.
That's what I was about to say. It was Cobby and I got together with Stone Loki and about, God, I don't know, about a dozen people. We covered it. We covered both of it back to back, 2 days, 12-hour live streams.
Yeah.
Anyway, DC Fandom has also served as the first place fans could see trailers for Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League game, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and more. Unfortunately, Warner Bros. Discovery has canceled this year's DC Fandom. According to popversecomicbook.com, can also confirm the latest update to DC Fandom. Now, this event, for those of you who don't know that are watching the show live, was actually going to be about a month from now. So it's pretty unprecedented for something like this to be canceled. Literally.
I don't think so, though, to a point. And I get where you're coming from, Mike.
Let me finish. I was going to say,
sorry.
For a purely online promotional event, which this is, it is highly unusual. It really is, because this is where they should be at. So this really, everything that Tom and Andre and Midnight's Edge and all the guests have been talking about for the last year, or last half a year, if this is total evidence and further proof that Zaslav is in there with a chainsaw, axe. I mean, what are your other analogies, Tom? He's just in there.
Well, yeah, this is. I'm not saying that they're not going to do this ever again, but there's a reason why they're not doing this year, or it will get moved to December. Because we've been hearing consistently that we are going to find out in December what the fucking plan is. So they'll do some big, huge DC event thing then. It's just too soon. I don't think they're ready yet. There's still a lot of moving parts here. I've been hearing a lot of randomness come out now. Again, it was kind of quiet for a minute there. I had heard that they had talked, that Pam Abdi and Michael DeLuca had talked to Ezra Miller. And then there was this big hullabaloo about having him be in a bunch of movies and all this other stuff. And I'm like, hold up, I didn't hear nothing like that. I just heard there was a discussion with him, which means, yeah, and this kind of goes along with what I've been hearing since the start is if they can work something out to where they can release this movie without having to reshoot him, they will do that because that will save them anywhere from $100 to $200 million, right? Like, that's the thing. So they just need to get this fucking movie out. I'm not even convinced at this point that it might not still come out this next summer because we got to remember this movie was supposed to come out before Aquaman 2 and all the other movies anyway, so it might not affect those movies as much as you'd think. But then again, we haven't heard anything yet. They may be kind of still working things out with him, and that's where I feel like it's still up in the air. Outside of that, I've heard some rumors now that Alan Horn is the one that's been getting in Zaslav's ear, and that's why all of a sudden there's been some wishy-washiness going on. He was the one that talked him into greenlighting the Batman 2. He's the one who's been kind of pushing the idea of keeping Ezra Miller and all this stuff. I even heard a rumor he may have tried to sweet talk him into keeping Amber. So this is why I said I'm not so sure that Alan Horn is the guy you want in there right now, fucking in your fucking sandbox. You know what I mean?
I have a massive problem with this guy for two reasons that are purely just opinionated, emotional reactions. But number one, I don't like the fact that this guy doesn't have any accountability. He gets to play consultant. I think.
And again, this is just rumors. Be clear about that, though.
I understand that, but I'm just saying that his announcement says that he was a consultant, right? And he's the kind of guy that's is going to want to like give advice, but there's no accountability. And number two, he's been out of this game too long. He does not know the current barometer, thermometer, whatever of what needs to. He does not know what we really need as fans right now. Now, did he do some good things back in the day here and there? Absolutely. Did it suck the way he was escorted out the door at the time, the way he went out when he went out? Probably. But I think this is not the guy that we need. And my spidey sense is tingling left and right, and I am just fearful to almighty hell of what he might endorse.
Me too, because as soon as he come in the door, We get this rumor that Dan Lin is the guy that's taking over DC. For
Exactly.
those who might know, I'm not saying that Dan Lin's a bad producer, but it's literally like Hamada 2.0.
Right.
They have pretty much the same resume, almost exactly. Like it's kind of stunning that they would go to that extent. It's like, you just got rid of this guy.
Right.
And he looks like he's 12.
Well, yeah, I'm not even trying. I'm trying to avoid the look factor because yes, they both are Asian. But my point being, it has nothing to do with that. My point is the 2.0 part has to do with their track record. This guy was involved in like the Lego movies and It. Hamada had kind of a similar background. In fact, I think they both were producers on It, if I'm not mistaken. But see, now looking things up, Roy Lee, who was Dan Lin's, he was his partner. They produced a lot of the same things, but if you listen to some of the things he has said in the past, he sounds like he's more in tune with the literal side of things, right? Because he's in the background. He's the one who is supposed to be working on that new, huge Dark Tower series from Stephen King that's supposed to be, put it back to where it belongs instead of it being that 2-hour movie with Idris Elba. So I have high hopes for that. So maybe this is the guy they should have looked at instead. But I could be wrong. But at this point, Dan Lin is not the answer. I don't know what you think, Klobby, or know about Dan Lin, but that might segue nicely into the other talk we were kind of discussing a little bit earlier.
No, I must admit I know nothing about him. I don't follow all that stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he's a top ring producer in Hollywood. I mean, he's well known within the producing circles. But yeah, I'm not confident he's got their experience yet to handle this. What do you think, Nick? Do you know anything about it or anything at all? Any comments on it?
Sounds like from the little bits that I've heard about Dan Lin, and this is not a lot, I've just heard tidbits. It just sounds more like just a polished turd. And you know what they say about no matter how much you try to polish a turd. So I hope I'm wrong, but I'm also not holding my breath at all. I've come to grips with the fact that DC might not be trying to make anything that could be towards my interest. Now, if they do, obviously I will respond. I will respond with glee. Obviously, why would I not? Especially if I'm going to spend money and time to do that. Of course I want to something. I would hate to throw money at something willingly to hate it willingly all the time. That's just crazy. So I would love to be in a world where we have, a whole series on the Green Lantern Corps. I'd like a world where Nick gets to have his Booster Gold movie. I would like to have my world where he gets to team up with Ted Kord. I would like to see all those things, but it sounds like we're just going to get a slightly better version. And by that standard, we're not really saying much. So once again, still a bit early though. We shall see. But prepare for the worst, hope for the best, folks.
And what I'm going to say is that here you have Klobby and Nick, who are two, correct me if I'm wrong, but from where I sit as a fan of YouTube, two of the most knowledgeable comics people we have in our fandom. And let me say this. When we're talking about being a DC fan and wanting to see exciting things going forward, I got to look at this guy and say, hey, is this the guy who has the pedigree, the background, the experience, the respect, the level of Twitter, whatever language, whatever word we want to pick, that he's going to be able to attract the right talent, writers, stars, and be able to make this happen? Because I'm not seeing that kind of leadership from his CV in the past.
Well, I hope that if Hamada's people are listening, or if the really strange fact that Hamada himself might be listening, maybe he'll take what I'm about to say into consideration. Slow down. We know you're trying to fix this. We know that something needs to be done, but assess this, evaluate it, take it slow, treat it like a lady who needs to be wine-dined finely before you even think about addressing, some of the more finer points of dating. At this point, you need to kind of just sit back, look at this whole thing for what it is, deal with Ezra fucking Miller, deal with Amber Heard, then kind of look at it and go, the fans will stay with me, or you've got the fans with you already, David. That's the thing. You've got hope on your side. And let me tell you how strong hope is, right? Because once people give up, it's done. Hope is an amazing tool. There was a scientist who was dumping these mice in these little tubes, and they would tread water for about 20 minutes and they would give up. But just as they'd given up and they looked like they were about to drown, he'd pluck them out. He'd give them a few minutes to rest, and then he put them back in. You know how long those fuckers lasted? The second time? Take a guess. Did you think they gave up right away? Do you think they? How much longer do you think they tread water this time? I'd love to hear everybody's guesses.
I'd say not long.
Yeah.
I'd say right, instantaneously gave up.
A year?
You would think. I see where Klobby's coming from because I kind of thought the same thing.
A year?
A few months.
Your guys are, Mikey and Nick are closer. Those little fuckers tread water for 60 hours after they thought there was hope that they might get saved again.
Hope does that.
Hope does a lot.
Even for rats, apparently.
Yep. So keep that in mind, David. We will stay with you as long as there's hope. But if you fucking rush into this and drown us in the process without saving us, we're not going to have any hope. Right? Like you shove the Flash down our throats and a few other things that are just as bad as the last shit we've seen. We're done. We're going to walk away. Because you don't have a lot of people out there who have any faith in this stuff anymore. Because, I've been arguing with Snyder fans all morning for those who have seen our video this morning.
I didn't get to see that. What happened?
Those comments this morning.
There's a few. Well, all three of them anyway. Because it kind of proves my point. Is that they're all like, well, it was an unmitigated success. It was a huge success. It's like, is it? If it was such a success, then why are we having this conversation right now? Because if it was such a success, there would be no reason for Zaslav to question where this should go.
True.
Mike, you'll tell you flat out, if you've got the data that shows people want the Snyder Cut, there's millions upon millions upon millions of fans that want it, and you're selling tons and tons of videos, enough to necessitate it, what would he do, Mike?
Keep selling, baby.
Go right back to the Snyder Verse.
That's right. Keep selling that Snyder Verse stuff, baby.
But guess what?
They would. That's right.
Only 2.2 million people watched it that first weekend it came out. And I was told 60% quit watching, and some of the other numbers are claiming less. And then the other side of it is they're like, it was a huge video hit. It was selling out. You know why it was selling out? Because they put it out in the middle of the pandemic, right after they closed down all the disc reproduction places in the fucking U.S. So they ran out because they only had Mexico and Germany to produce discs.
You can't forget
That's where
also,
mine came from.
The Snyder Cut is nothing more than a Hail Mary.
It made
eyes on.
I want to hear if you watched the video this morning.
Oh, I did. Great video.
You know exactly how much it sold. It sold $15 million worth of copies on discs. That ain't diddly shit. No. Godzilla vs. Kong has sold over 35 million. Here's another one. The Batman just come out here, 2 months ago on disc? It's already sold 10 million worth. So that tells you how it's outpacing. And the Batman is one of the bigger problems if you watched our video this morning. That movie sent such mixed signals to Warner Brothers that they don't know how to really approach this shit. It wasn't enough of a success to continue that, but they're still doing it because of Alan Horn's suggestion, I guess. And then the other end of it, if it would have just flopped, then that would have been the answer they needed. We need to stick with this Batman, or the Snyderverse storyline. But this is another thing we didn't get in the video that some people just do not want to accept as fact. Warner Brothers does not consider the Snyder Cut canon. They never have and probably never will. As far as they're concerned, the theatrical cut of the Justice League is canon. So anything going forward will, if they have any references to what happened in Justice League at all, they're addressing that film, not the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, and they might not even. They'll probably just leave that alone too.
Dude, I don't even care about the word canon anymore.
Well, no, but that's kind of what the thing is, and I love people who have the passion, but the passion is what killed the chances of this franchise going anywhere. And that's what's sad about it. And it's not so much that the passion is what killed it. It was the fact that these passionate fans just would not accept that a large portion of the rest of the audience either doesn't care or didn't like it.
Hey, be nice.
I'd say he is being nice, but we gotta it shows you
thank you, Nick.
Like every other loud minority, they are exactly that, a minority. And I'm not saying that as a way to disrespect them. Trust me, I've taken jabs at Snyder cultists. Not every one of them is a cultist. Some are just fans. But it's just that they're loud. But loud doesn't equate for an army. They are.
I absolutely was a Snyder cultist.
Well, and here's why I'm upset by this, and I'm not upset with Snyder fans directly so much because I know a lot of Snyder fans, Mike's being one of them, and I thought the Snyder Cut was a superior version of the film. Don't get me wrong, superior in every way, especially time. But like at that point, you have to just kind of accept that it's not going to continue, and not only that. I get it. I was happy that Warner Brothers listened to the fans, but now because of the way that a lot of the fans have acted after this, there's no more studios are going to be reluctant to listen to fan response because of this afterwards than ever before. That's my problem with this situation now. That's
a precedent.
It does because everybody in Hollywood, as far as they're concerned, the Snyder Cut was the worst thing that ever happened because they gave into the fans. Why do you think they're so hard on Sonic?
You know, there is a point, like, and trust me, I'm a fan driven type of guy. There is a fine line you got to figure out. To what point do you listen to fans? At what point do you let the studio be the studio? And like, if you're not taking civil liberties with the characters, then yes, obviously the fan should say something. But as far as like constantly saying what can or cannot be made, as far as a candidate. It's a mess of a situation. There's no one wants to be wrong, but everyone wants to be right in that type of situation.
Well,
you know what I'm going to say?
A few bad apples is what I was going to say, but yeah.
I agree with Tom completely. We were out of our minds.
It's not all the fans. There were some great fans. There was some very well-behaved fans. It was just the few bad apples that really got out of line, and unfortunately, it was at the wrong time for fandom because it proved their point, right? Like that. Anyway, sorry, Mike, you were going to make a point. My problem.
I was going to say this is that while there can be a healthy debate about whether or not you like what Snyder did or didn't, Lord knows me and Claudia have had those on multiple occasions, on multiple channels. Okay? We've had that debate. Put that aside. What I am proud about is that it was an example where fans didn't like what they got and fans rose up and eventually one way or the other got what they got. Got what they wanted. And maybe we're a minority, maybe this, maybe that, whatever, in terms of do you like what he did or not. But you know what? It was a turning of the tide of fighting and getting studios to make us listen to what we wanted, regardless of what they thought what they wanted for us.
I agree with you to a point. And this is, and let's just put it this way. If anything, I mostly agree. I agree because, you do want to hear people out on what's going on, minority or not. However, I feel like it's honestly not the Snyder fans or even the Snyder cultists that made it worse. I would actually, and this is the part where I defend the fans of the cultists, but this is going to be also the part where the fans and maybe even the cultists are going to hate what I say. I blame the worst of this on Zack Snyder himself. I think he caused most damage. I mean, once they announced the Snyder Cut was coming out, even though I wasn't really looking forward to it, I was happy for those fans in that regard that they're getting their wish. So I'm like, okay, I'm not looking for this, but hey, I'm happy you got what you want. Let's shake hands and I'll let you guys, have your win, celebrate. And then the infamous incident happened. And it's just like, oh, well, now I'm wholly against this project coming out again. So Zack Snyder.
Well, it's because you just learned that he's no different. Yeah, then he's no different than any other guy. That's the problem.
Because he was prior to that incident, he was on record defending those fans. He was, and in his defense, trust me, no, anyone who knows me knows I don't like defending that guy. But facts are facts, regardless of how I feel. And I thought that was a really stand-up thing he was doing at the time when he was saying on interviews, hey, what makes these fans so toxic? Like that, I thought, okay, that's cool that he's doing that. Even though I strongly disagree with how he handles these movies, I will at least give him credit where it's due. But then that night happened, and I'm just like, okay, dude, just that little bit of goodwill you're getting from me, you fucked it all out the window. And now it's just like, now I just don't care now, and I will never root for anything of his in any way, even if it's for the fans.
Yeah, that was a big snafu, and after that point, I agree with you on that part. Like, as far as the Snyder, let's say the Snyder cultists, I hate using that term because I'm
okay with it.
That's why I
he was
separated
busted admitting that he was using a lot of people to get his way.
Let's
be real.
He was.
And on that point, I blame him for everything that came after. But as far as the original initial run, I blame Warner. And I'll tell you why. If they would have just let Snyder take his break and then come back and finish Justice League 1 and 2, guess what? All this shit would be done and over with because those movies would have flopped and we would have moved on. Because at that point, the point would have been hit home that this is too dark, not where everybody wants to go. You know, like I said, my complaints, you can't even take a kid to one of these movies, which I get it. Yes, it's nice to have things for adults too. But, you know, after BVS, I had given up because I gave him a chance again after Man of Steel. And at that point, I'm just like, fuck this noise. I can't even enjoy my superhero movies anymore. It's like, even when I try, you're purposefully making them horrible. And then Justice League, in the end of the day, even though I love Zack Snyder's version better than the other one, and I use the term love loosely, Joss actually understood Superman better. I hate to say it. I don't know if you've seen both versions, Clobby, but...
No, I have. I hate the Snyder Butt. I don't like Whedon's either, but at least that's a bad movie where the heroes aren't bastardized. So that's something, and I don't like Whedon much either.
We get Superman for about 5 minutes in that movie. That's about the highlight.
And as weird as he looks, at least he's actually this is the only time Cavill ever got to play Superman a little bit instead of the moody man, brooding, mopey man as he did.
AKA Batman with powers.
I actually don't use Snyder cultists that much. I used to say Snyder bots because I was getting attacked by a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of using the term.
Yeah, but I mean, I have many dear friends who disagree with me and I don't like it. Like Mike, for example. Mike can call himself a cultist all he wants, but I consider him a nice person, so I'm not going to call anybody a cultist who's a nice person.
I call him a fan.
It's a fan, and then we disagree on that kind of stuff. But anyone who's just the ones who are really horrible, despicable people who go after a lot. And by the way, there was some on the other side that did it too. I knew a lot of them. But the Snyder bots who are obnoxious and attack everyone, and I do believe someone wrote in the chat, they're edgelords, and they just want to see darkness. They just want to see superheroes punching things, and they don't care about heroism or ideals or any of the things that Superman really stands for. Those are the people that I have a problem with. I call them Snyder
bots. Are you
saying
saying that Snyder fans are the type of dudes who get like distracted by shiny things, own bass boats, listen to Metallica every day, and name their kids Gage?
I think Snyder bots are. So Snyder fans, the only thing I can think about as a Snyder fan is I can't understand liking horrible garbage like Man of Steel or Bull versus Shite. The only thing I can think of is they just like the edgier dark stuff, and I'm like, I can see that for other things. Just don't do it with characters that were, whether you like it or not, created for kids. And if you can make a movie that ostensibly has Superman in it, even though his name's not in the title, and where small children can't go to it, you are fundamentally doing it wrong. And that's why I despise everything about the Snyder Verse. But some friends who are good, reasonable people just don't care about that sort of thing, and they just want to see all the darkness and the edge, and they don't really think about that, so we have a disagreement. But it's the Snyder bots that are unreasonable zealots that I have a problem with.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said to a point, Clobby. And of course, I was goofing around there before, but
no, I hear you.
I was just being a facetious or whatever you call it. But no, like there's times though it makes me wonder at that part. But no, like I like serious superhero movies too. But here's the problem: you and I, Nick, Mike, we could sit here and we could brainstorm a very adult DC universe using the same plot points and ideas, and come up with, I think, something that would be infinitely more exciting. Now, I'm not talking about our egos here, but I'm just talking about the simple fact that Zack Snyder, to me, sorry enough, is perpetually a 12-year-old boy who just happens to know how to use a camera.
Yeah, and he admitted it when he got the gig 2 years before. I've been fighting this thing before he took over before he directed the film. When he got the gig, his first thing out of his stupid mouth was, "Superman's kind of a bit dark. I don't really like him." This is a guy that. I'm not going to go into the argument about what he did to Watchmen because, but the Watchmen was at least his speed, something he should have been doing, even though I have problems with it fundamentally how it worked out. I still like the movie in some ways. But this is a guy that grew up leading heavy metal, loving Watchmen. He kind of like Batman, but probably the more edgy Frank Miller version. He just doesn't understand or like the ideals that a brighter character like a Superman or the original Captain Marvel or anyone like that stands for. He thinks he's one of these. I think he's a dirtbag, really, because he laughs and scoffs at values and morals and positive role models and all those things are cornball to a jerk off like him. So I have no respect for him. I think he's a good visual filmmaker in some ways. I just don't think, and he can't really write either. And neither could David S. Goyer or the Terrio guy.
Oh God, don't even get me started on Goyer.
Goyer's terrible. So he can make a slick looking film and make it look pretty good sometimes. But if you have no respect for the character, as Richard Donner did, for example, then that's your prerogative and that's fine. It's your opinion. But for God's sake, don't make the movie if you don't have respect for Superman. Of course, there was a lot of that going around later with, George R. Abrams not respecting Star Trek. So, what do I know? I only just love the characters. I'm a fan.
No, you're 100% right. And you're right. I mean, given being a perfect world, yeah, I wouldn't have mind Snyder doing a Frank Miller Batman film. In fact, those were the highlights for me. In fact, the first, 20, 30 minutes, I was into the movie. That's why I was so pissed at BBS, because it got me going, and then all of a sudden it's like, what is this shit? Because you're doing this setup, you even have the Frank Miller setup and all that kind of stuff. You even get the lightning flash behind Bat. I mean, I was having a bit of a nerdgasm for a moment there. You even got the cop saying, you're about to see some shit, kid, So I'm like, oh yeah, they're really going to do this. Cool. And then all of a sudden it goes off the fucking rails with Wonder Woman sneaking into the party and all this other crap. It's like, why does she want this thing? And it doesn't even make sense why she would have that. It's like, it's a digital photo. What good is you having a digital photo going to do you? And I don't even want to get down this road because I'll be here for 2 hours. But no, I agree with you 100% on that. And Man of Steel to me was just Zack Snyder trying to make a Christopher Nolan film. That's all it was. That's really...
Superman's parents were the worst in that movie.
Oh, the whole thing was disrespectful.
That's
Christopher Nolan put him in charge of that movie. So,
that was so freaking stupid. Was I just supposed to do save him?
Well, just the whole thing's stupid, Nick. Basically, it was the studio going, do what Nolan did with Batman Begins, but do it for Superman.
That's right.
And if you didn't already know that and you watch those movies back to back, they're the same fucking movie almost, as far as how the tone is, how they were structured, all that business. And it's like, it doesn't work that way for Superman when you do the same thing for Batman.
Zack Snyder's not a comic book geek. He's a Frank Miller, Alan Moore fan. That's what he is.
That is true.
And I'm a fan of both of those guys, but those guys...
That is 100% true, and that is why most of us that are Snyder fans, we have an affinity towards that age in particular of the history of comic books, which, by the way, I've said it many times, is relatively obscure if you look at the entire canon of all comic book history, and I know that.
True.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not that hung up on the Christopher Reeve Superman either. So for anybody who wants to accuse me of that, I love him and I love the films. But I will tell you this: my hope for the new Superman films they were just going to basically do what they did in the Superman animated series. I'm like, just do that. Just do that. Same thing with Batman. Just do that.
He's fundamentally has to be Superman first. For example, people make a mistake saying, well, you don't like dark story. No. You can have Superman in a dark story, but you cannot darken Superman. That's the difference.
Clobby, have you seen? I know you've had to have seen Superman the animated series. Those first, 4 episodes? The origin story of Superman, fucking spot on, perfect, tone perfect.
That actually, but yeah,
almost every. But as far as like cramming it into a 2-hour story,
no, I liked it. Yeah,
I'm curious to hear what your differences are. But I love how Brainiac is set up. I mean, I even like the idea that Brainiac could be the one who destroyed Krypton to begin with and all this other stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this.
I didn't like Brainiac being on Krypton, but that's comic big minutia there. But yeah, I hated the...
Yeah, but in a movie sense...
Bruce Timm also was obsessed with depowering Superman to the point where in that show he was a bit of a wimp, but I went back and watched it later. I loved the show, but I had some adjustments to make because he followed too much of Burns' drivel, but that's getting into the weeds right there.
No, and I understand where you're coming from, and I'm sure there's a few things I wouldn't have had an issue with him being tweaked one way or the other, and I understand as far as Brainiac goes, but
great show.
What?
Great show. You know what? I always thought. You know what the counter? Would you like to know the counter film to Snyder's Man of Steel for me? A movie that came out a little bit before it. It's an animated film, of course. Watch Superman versus the Elite, the animated film, and you'll see something that upholds the values of Superman in a very dark story. And it was, of course, based on a comic book.
That was not one of my more favorite ones, but it's, I've seen it.
I'm with you there, but I'm talking about the values where he's fighting. He is fighting, basically, Zack Snyder's the villain of that movie. Zack Snyder type characters based on sort of like a book called The Authority by Warren Ellis and later Mark Millar. Basically, he's fighting the sick, just super beings that are passed off as superheroes or just as bad as villains type trope, fighting Superman and his values. And that's why I like Superman versus the Elite.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Make it watch it.
Let's see what's going on in the chat. We got some super chats here. We got Big Daddy MRI who sent us in a popcorn super sticker, if I remember right. And then Brett Cohen also sent us a super sticker. I can't remember what it was offhand, but I think it was a pear doing something. Thank you, Brett Cohen. Dash Attack says, I like Snyder Cut and Man of Steel, but it's time for a revamp. Have Black Adam and Blue Beetle be the Iron Man and Hulk to it, if that's possible. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'd be fine with a complete and utter reset, like from ground zero.
That's where we got to go.
But, I mean, I also understand Zaslav kind of wanting to hit the ground running, especially when you've got, you know, if you can get Henry Cavill back and you've got Ben Affleck and Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot, they're well known enough. Keep them if you can. But at the same time, I mean, this is a series that's been going on for almost 10 fucking years now. Give it up. We learned that Marvel, that was their extent that they could go before people were kind of like, meh, if you're going to take away Iron Man, I just don't care.
Even though in the beginning, no one cared about Iron Man, but whatever.
I don't know about that.
He was kind of a C-lister
character.
He was definitely a B or C-list character.
Sure.
Dude,
But
as someone who actually
I knew who he was.
I only like pretty
yeah.
much two Marvel characters growing up my entire life. Iron Man was one of them, and the only reason I got to read Iron Man is because my cousins who had all the comic books never gave a shit, so they always let me read Iron Man. That was one of the two. That and Fantastic Four.
See, I always liked Iron Man's look. See, I like things with like red and yellow mixed together, or red and orange. So
they
like,
varied a lot, but I love it. Yeah, but he was still they definitely
not a fan of the bluer suits.
B-lister. Definitely a B-lister at the time when everyone was kind of like an Iron Man movie. Sure, I'm game, but is that going to be well? And it proved that though that you
to
can
me
make a great
though,
movie.
Iron Man was a lot bigger character than some of the other superheroes we had gotten out of the 90s.
I mean, he wasn't Spider-Man nor the X-Men huge. I mean...
No, but I knew who he was before I ever knew who
close.
Blade was or some of the other ones.
Blade was a risk too. They took taking a shot on Blade, except they didn't really sell it like a superhero movie. It was more like who even knew he was a Marvel character? When
that's the beauty of Blade, right? Yeah, because especially going on New Line, they knew how to sell it as a horror action film.
Right. Yes, and it worked. And because of a certain guy playing him, I mean, he was a big star, and he was, Wesley Snipes was a big draw for that.
I agree. Sorry, I mean, Cracker here. And then we got Rob Altus. If you want to read this one for me, Mikey.
Rob Altus says, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes to start filming later this year. No Andy Serkis. Ha-ha! Disney will destroy my franchise. That's
what they do, buddy. They destroy everyone's franchise.
Yeah.
You know what, though? The beauty of it, Rob, is we have a lot. When it comes to Planet of the Apes compared to like franchises like Terminator, Predator, for instance, there's a lot more good in the Apes franchise than there is bad. So
that's true. That's true.
Chances are we're due for some bad Apes movies at this point. Like, I hate to say it, but Disney's going to be the ones to do it.
Even in the original 5, that's who I'm a huge, gigantic apophile. Let's face it, there was Battle for the Planet of the Apes. So
the worst one of those,
beneath problems. Beneath,
you know the one that I hate the most, Klobby, of all those, and I don't hate any of them. I actually adore them.
Which one?
The second one.
What?
Beneath. Beneath
the Planet of the Apes to me is the least of the bunch.
Battle though, come on, man.
Yeah, I love Battle.
Wow,
for some of its cheesiness, probably for the wrong reasons, but yeah.
No judgment. I'm just saying most people really hate Battle the most. So
I like how the series got darker though, and that's kind of why I didn't mind the reboots, because they're really kind of keying in on those last 3 films, or especially the last 2 films.
The Burton film, I think, was atrocious, but
that we don't talk about.
Which one?
What?
Tim Burton garbage. Yeah.
Never happened.
Now, Rise at least is an interesting movie. I don't consider it connected to the original, but after that, I didn't really like those new ones anyway.
I liked the new ones, but I wonder if I'll like them as much now after seeing the Batman.
Matt Reeves, yeah.
Probably not.
Because I actually thought the second and third one were better than the first one. I thought they got better as they went along.
I liked them.
I love the original films. Even I look the cartoon, the books. I even love the television show. Which last 14
I got the series too. Yeah,
man, I loved it. Roddy McDowell is absolutely brilliant on that show. And in the movie,
that was my toughest part when the 2001 version came out. Not so much that it sucked, because it did suck. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but to me, it was like it's just something don't feel right. It's just because you ain't got Roddy McDowell there. Right, like he was the character the person that was always through all of them. Even though I don't think he did a voice on the animated series, but still.
No, he didn't. But
still, it was just kind of like he was like, you know, he was just kind of like that steadfast anchor.
Yes,
that
although he wasn't in Beneath, but other than that, he was the other one.
Yeah, but we don't talk. That's one of the reasons why I don't like it too.
You don't like Beneath. Well, you had Chucky show up for a little bit. Thing is, Charlton Heston doing a cameo in the Burton one made me kind of sad. Ugh. So yeah.
Yeah, it felt very out of place.
Heresy.
Very much so. Let's move on here, though. We got Big Daddy MRI who sent us a sticker. I didn't catch what it was, and I don't have a 6 tonight.
Shit, I should have been keeping track. Sorry, boss.
That's all right. I should have said something.
Sorry. Paying attention. But thank you,
let's
Big Daddy
make it up.
MRI.
We're going to make up what it is. It is a Shiba dog throwing pieces of pizza to everybody.
And with an elf catching
That's the
them.
dream.
Good job.
Yeah.
A Shiba dog throwing pizza at me? Where?
Seth
Where do I
Holocron
go?
Seth Holocron.
A dog that delivers pizza, yeah.
I was going to read the green one for you. Seth Holocron for
Cool.
$5 says, as a DC fan, I am beep tired of this. I wish Dream and Death would just turn a page in this.
Indeed.
Shot.
Understandable.
Ooh.
Understandable.
So Hillis says the Snyder Cut needed to be edited into a 2.5 hour movie. Take it all the future stuff. Yes, I agree. And that's what I said at the time. I'm like, you know what? I probably would have liked this movie more if Snyder would have done a quote unquote theatrical version and a super indulgent version, right?
The problem with this guy, and I said it at the time, and I'll say it again. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Is that he tried to tell 4 stories in one movie, which was a bad idea.
You're not wrong.
Too many. He literally took 4 different comic book storylines and mashed them together, and hoping it would work out. And
it was a terrible story because of that too, Mike. And the thing is, he jammed them all together. He didn't really have any that whole movie. I don't care if it's Whedon or even Snyder. I'm even giving him a bit of a pass, even though it's his fault. That movie story, there's almost so much you could even do with it. It was almost non-existent, and there's just a bunch of scenes thrown together. It made no sense. I mean, the guy didn't even know what a mother box was, and he didn't understand Steppenwolf, and he didn't understand Darkseid either because he didn't understand the Fourth World. And yet he just threw them in there because they were villains that people like. It's just awful.
How hard is it to set up? You got Superman going on one side, right? And you put Batman out on the other. So you have these two heroes simultaneously becoming to be. And then basically once you get them established, for a Batman v Superman movie, it's the easiest fucking thing to do in the world because these two fundamentally would not get along with how they deal with shit. They would only agree on certain things. So it'd be very easy for somebody like a Lex Luthor to manipulate the fuck out of the situation and use Batman to try and get to Superman. But of course, it wouldn't take long for Bruce to figure out he's being manipulated, right? But at the same time, when you have Superman coming out, doing Superman things, that's going to wake up some other attention, right? Well, that's where you bring in some of these other Brainiac and some of the other characters from the more cosmic versions. In Darkseid, or Darkseid, sorry, I always called him Darkseid growing up. Darkseid, all that kind of shit. You bring it in gradually. You don't try to shove it all in one fucking movie, you moron.
Their first movie should have been Starro, first of all.
Oh, yeah, Starro would have been preferable.
After you do as you say,
Zod,
as you say, Tom, after you've gradually introduced your characters as you should have, it should have. And by the way, I'm of old school. Batman and Superman were always best friends. They had differences, but they were best friends. I've always hated what Miller really turned them into.
Well, I do like the Trinity because you have like the kind of Kirk, Trinity. Spock, Dr. McCoy thing.
Build that up slowly. Make it Starro because Starro gives you a way to introduce all of your characters because it will keep all the characters all over the world. Bring in Darkseid later. First of all, Darkseid was never. He was. I mean, I don't know. Later stuff they started using him. But he's a fourth world villain anyway. I mean, he's never needs to be the main actor.
Yeah, I prefer stuff like.
Anyway,
honestly, I like Zod. I like Metallo. I like
Justice League has
Brainiac.
some great villains. I mean, Despero.
Oh man,
Starro.
so many. Great
Superman
villains.
has one of the most underutilized rogues gallery.
He does. No one ever acknowledges that shit. He's got Manchester
Solomon Grundy.
Yeah,
I mean, fucking.
Thank you.
He didn't really. He's not originally a Superman villain, but still,
Yeah, I associated with him. Sorry, but yeah.
No, I got you. Super Friends. I mean, he was on Super. But initially, he was a Green Lantern villain in the Golden Age. But the thing is, he was used well for Superman.
Oh, Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Yeah, Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Awesome villain.
That would be just too silly.
Love that.
Come on, that's
there's ways you can do
that
it.
Is the worst. That is the worst.
Gilbert Gottfried was great as Mr. Mxyzptlk. He was awesome. He was that character, and that's the best part is where you take a character who's basically a midget, looks absolutely unintimidating, but you make him super powerful as fuck. That's how you do it.
That might be one character I could see them tweaking a bit. Like, say if you got like Peter Dinklage to play the role and he's doing a bit of a different version of Mxyzptlk. Right? I could see that.
They'd have to rip up Alan Moore's version, but yeah.
The thing is, that's a perfect ploy because you think, okay, this is gonna be easy. I could take this guy, but it's the whole looks can be deceiving. It's a great villain to use, and it's one of those things where you had to get him to say a really ridiculous phrase. I somewhat find that comic book cheesiness or not realistic.
Here's my thing.
That's what I like.
That's one of my least favorite things about Superman is the whole he's susceptible to magic shit. I don't like
that was taken away later. But
yeah, I don't like the whole magic thing in the universe. Like, I don't mind him, like, because him being around, I like the idea that, him as soon as he would do whatever he does, flip on that ship that he did, there's plenty of reasons and rhymes where you can have outside forces that are going to want to challenge Superman, right? That makes complete fucking sense. So it just kind of sets itself up. Even when you get the Green Lantern League and stuff like that involved, there's another reason to have outside bigger forces to take on Superman,
Yeah, you got. If we're talking about the Justice League, though, you got to start with a villain worthy of all of them. Again, like a Starro, a Despero, a Mazo, someone like that. Some of these characters always with O's on there. And notice that. But
yeah, that's my problem. Is we've never gotten anything but Lex Luthor for Superman. Sorry,
all of these ideas are fantastic. Actually, the only reason I push back a little bit on Nick is for this reason: is that what we had with Marvel is we had a strategic vision. Say what you will about Feige now, but at least we had a studio and a vision, and we had a master plan, and that plan was executed. Warner Brothers is so freaking stupid with their execs, stupid, and DC so poorly stupid managed for all these years that there's no way that we've just seen it. They couldn't execute then. Who knows if they're going to execute now, or who knows if they're going to execute in the future?
It's funny you asked that, Mike, because that brings me to my next topic, since I got two of my comic boys here.
And a Mexican.
And I agree with Jay that Brainiac needs to be treated.
Yes, he does.
Treated well. He could see Brainiac's, even though he's a Superman villain, that's someone who could take on the Justice League.
Right. Yes, and he is complex.
Yes, depending on which iteration we're talking about. But anyway,
you know what's sad is we never got Christopher Walken as Brainiac like we were supposed to. Superman, I am Brainiac.
No. Lex Luthor being dependent on Superman is like the Batman directors depending on Joker. They say, "Oh, hey, look at this guy. I want to do my take on this character." They're just vanity projects. They don't want to look at the lore and the richness and the deep catalog of villains. But hey, look at this cool character. Maybe I could do something with this character. And
Superman.
They don't care about that. They're just there to do their story on Luthor or Joker.
Oh my God, I'm such a fan, and I'm green with envy, as you can see.
Well done. Nice. Otisburg.
It's just a little bitty place. Miss
Otisburg.
Tessmacher's got her own place.
Gene Hackman was.
Did you ever notice what Miss Tessmacher's place was? It was two mountains.
Costa del Ex, Lutherville, Marina del Ex.
Oh yeah, but no, don't get me wrong. Of course, I love Lex Luthor. He's a great classic villain, and Gene Hackman.
And don't cast Mark Zuckerberg as him like Snyder did.
Oh shit!
Facebook Luthor in that movie.
I know we need horrible. Jeff Bezos as Luthor now.
What's his name? Jesse Eisenberg. Eisenberg has to be almost as bad a casting as Ezra Miller as Flash. I mean, those are two of the worst castings in the movie ever.
Those two are terrible.
You know, this is something I could get behind, Simon.
Oh,
you know, I would actually entertain that.
Yeah. I think he
Spacey was pretty bad,
he
too.
would give us a pretty interesting Lex Luthor.
Wow.
Especially since Vincent D'Onofrio will never be able to play it now that he's Kingpin. Because that was always kind of my secret pick. I never said anything to anybody because everybody's always like, Bryan Cranston. I'm like, why are you fucking kidding me? Vincent D'Onofrio would knock that fucker out the park.
Oh, yeah. Tom, I have a special announcement.
What is that?
Look to Mr. Tickle Truck.
5 memberships. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Celebration. Yay. That was the wrong button. Who knows? That was the wrong button too. There we go. There's the right button. Yay. And we'll give you guys a puppy since there's 5 of you. Let's see here. We've got... Let's do an Oscar puppy. We ain't done the Oscar puppy in a while.
Oh, I love the Oscar puppy, too.
Oscar winning puppy.
Yay. That's the best. Look at that puppy dog.
He's so happy.
Doggy.
So happy. But yes, so I wanted to talk about this DC thing. This is where I was segueing to, since I got my comic book boys here. Because we're hearing a bunch of rumors now that either Todd McFarlane is going to be brought in to run DC.
Yep.
Or I posited, I don't think that's the case so much as I think Todd McFarlane is going to license the DC characters. Because he still is a part of Image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
will
think
be
he
a
wants to
baby.
get his hands on the fucking figures, is what he wants.
You know he
He's
does.
already got the figures.
I mean, well, if that's the case, then it makes sense that
He's making the figures now. So
I don't know. I don't see. Do you guys see Warner Brothers actually bringing him in any capacity, or do you? I see him more so just licensing the characters out to him through Image.
Clobby,
I
go
think
first.
no. I think that's exactly what you were exactly right, Tom. I believe that's what they were going to do. Bringing him. I don't think he has any interest to go work for them per se, just to make deals with them for licensing stuff for that. I think
Exactly.
like you're saying. Yeah, he doesn't want to work for them. He doesn't need to.
What do you think, Nick?
You know, I think I don't think he's gonna get involved at all on a managerial leadership based position. One, he's already too busy with 2 other entities. You got obviously his Spawn thing, which is his baby, the longest running Image comic book ever in history of ever. You got that, and now on top of it, Spawn is spawned into 4 or 5 books now because it's now Spawn's universe now. So you got 4 or 5 monthly books, and he's writing 2 or 3 of them. You got a few different writers on a few of them. So now he's dealing with the universal aspect with that, and then you got his toy empire, which that I can only imagine is an undertaking of an industry, which I'm sure he loves. I'm sure he enjoys it. I don't see him wanting to get involved with Alicia. I mean, why would he? Like, I mean, why would he give away all that over that type of, what should I say here? I don't want to say power, but he's basically going to be under a bunch of people again. Whereas Image, he was one of the cream of the crop. Why would you give yourself a step down? Why would you do that? I mean, granted, now some would argue, well, Jim Lee did and Rob Liefeld did. Here's the thing. Rob Liefeld,
he's not a Jim Lee or a Liefeld though either.
Liefeld is in a position where he's one of the few guys at Marvel who can literally not care what the company wants. He will still put out what he wants to put out. Whether I should have got
hold of Vinny today. You know that
relevant. He's the only guy who can tell Dan Slott at the company to fuck off, and they won't fire him because they know they need him to promote that Deadpool. So they can't do shit about it. So they can't touch Liefeld.
You know, Mikey, we should have talked to
you position.
Who do you want me to reach out to?
We should have talked to Vinny today. We should have Vinny see if Vinny could have come on.
I'm a huge supporter. Of course I do. I'm a huge supporter.
I
have all this book.
Yeah, he knows Todd.
I think I can get a hold of him.
If he's not busy, but if not, no worries. But like, I agree with what you guys are saying, and I'm curious what Mike thinks about it too from a businessman standpoint, because you guys are coming at it a little bit more from the comic book angle. I mean, for me, like, that's what I see. He already has the one license with DC. He's going to want exclusivity. He's going to want to be able to say, this is the place you go for DC toys, right? Like, and not only that, DC Comics and all that kind of shit.
Let's back up to something you've been talking about.
DC Comics is redundant, but anyway.
Let's back up to something you've been talking about, Tom, for weeks, months now, too, which has to do with Zaslav cares about the brand. He cares about the brand. And there are certain projects that are going to be canceled to protect the DC brand. Now, one thing that we know about McFarlane is he's been able, he has a fantastic reputation. I mean, in terms of, buying, buying his figures and stuff. He understands brand. He understands marketing. He's also a businessman, not a man in business. There's a big difference between a businessman and a man in business. Huge difference.
Yeah.
He would be a fantastic steward. Now, whether or not he's going to be in charge of the whole kit and caboodle, that's another issue. But I do think this is an example of the right steward from a brand licensing standpoint that begins with the toys and could be begins with the figures, but could be anything and everything. Because let's face facts, we are probably going to see DC Comics imploding and probably move to a licensing model where they're going to let independent creators license the stuff out. So at least they're collecting those overrides and they don't have to keep all the overhead costs.
Right.
Because if there's a business unit now the DC Comics division hasn't been high on the chopping block yet. Why? Because as an operating expense, it's losing money. As an operating business unit, it's losing money, but it's not losing billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars. It's losing millions of dollars. So I see this as a move that this is a guy where McFarlane can he's already a licensee. Who better than your number one licensee to help become one of their stewards of the licensor?
See, and that's the thing that I get about Todd, and that's why I think, at least, and I'm curious if you think he will too, try to shoot for some kind of exclusivity deal. I don't think that he's going to want the DC characters going anywhere else, and that's what he'll probably do is some kind of like, we'll handle the comic side of things, we'll handle the merchandising side of things, let me handle it. And in that respect, he's in a better position outside of the company as a licensee than he is working within Warner Brothers, because then he's just going to wind up like the rest of them, and he's going to be out the door in 2 years anyway, because we all know the comic industry is dying, right? But what there is incentive in is it's not so much the new comics is what I'm talking about, Mike. He's going to be able to reprint all the classics.
Yep, exactly.
Is what I think he'll want to go after.
And align those with collectible figures as well.
Exactly, synergy.
Exactly, synergy, right? And now let me say one more thing, Tom, building upon what you just said, which is what did we get with Zaslav? We got this guy that got brought in by the new ownership structure to steward the brand and steward this company. Well, who better? This is kind of a Zaslavian. This is like a mini-me kind of move. You bring a McFarlane in and let him be in charge of the licensing of the brand, so that way you say, hey, over here, I'm going to be Zaslav for a minute. Hey, over here, we're going to make the movies, man. And over there, you're going to take care of the toys and the collectibles and all that. Okay, we got a deal. Okay. Let's go make money everywhere.
Yeah, and I don't see him coming in on any like entertainment side of things. Like they're not going to bring him in. He's not built for that, really. So this, that's the only way I see this working for everybody is a win-win scenario. Because in that way, Warner Brothers is bringing in money, and the incentive is on McFarlane to make the shit work. Because if he's working under Warner Brothers, there's no incentive for him to really make it work other than he wants to keep his job. At that point, he's like, I'm Todd McFarlane. I don't fucking need this. Right? Like I'd be willing to bet that Todd McFarlane is one of the richest comic book men in the history of comic book men.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, motherfucker made so much money off of Spawn and shit, man. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. And if you get a chance, I think there's already like 2 or 3 different documentaries about it, but there's at least one great one about the creation of Image. Right.
Oh, it's excellent.
And just to see that these guys' ingenuity and what they did for themselves at that time, and of course it comes kind of somewhat imploding in on themselves once money and all that power kind of comes into play, which it always does. But, Todd's been the one kind of steadfast member of that group that's still around and the founding member, and he's still listed as the president of Image. Yeah. And Image is a very respected comic book company. So
still involved, not to the degree McFarlane is, and as much as I can't stand him, Eric Larson's still involved with the Savage Dragon book. But yeah, Lee obviously ended up going back to DC. Liefeld ended up, kind of on again, off again Marvel, depending on when he likes him. But yeah, it's Image showed that they worked. They did not like what they were getting with Marvel, and they said, screw these guys, we're going to do our own thing. We're kind of seeing that now with a part 2 with Eric July, obviously, with his Rippaverse. Who knows? He might have the next Image on his hand. We'll see, obviously. That's, I feel like, very early to tell, but right now he's on that track, and even had Kirby's approval, because that company was quite a big deal. It made Marvel and DC eventually pay attention. I remember there was even commercials back then for Spawn toys, and where he talked about kicking the competition, taking them down. Todd McFarlane is doing very well for himself. He doesn't need this company. That's the thing. But if he takes them, it'll be for the toys, and it'll be for anything with licensing. He does not care to write a story. If he does, I would be shocked.
No, but this would be the next evolution. If he does go there, this is the next evolution in his career journey. I mean, imagine a guy who gets started the way he got started. I'm not going to repeat everything that Nick said. You guys and Tom, you guys covered it great. But if I were in his shoes, to me, this is the next logical evolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it makes sense because at this point, the way the comic industry is, they're such small parts of such large companies that the few comic companies that are going to be able to rise above the rest are going to be like Image, Dark Horse, the others who are not adhering to a huge corporate monster, to where they're worried about every little thing that comes out. And I think that that's going to be the edge that he's going to have, because the incentive is on him to make these things successful, right? It's not, there's no incentive for any of these idiots inside Marvel or DC to make any of these things successful, right? How often do we hear, and I'm sure Klobby, you've heard the same kind of thing and whatnot, where a lot of these kids, when they come into Marvel and stuff, all they're there, they want to create a character that's going to get a movie. That's all they want.
Yeah, probably. Now, especially
that's where the payday is.
That or for a Netflix project. They're not there to write
now for Disney Plus, but
they're hoping for a Netflix pitch, a Disney Plus pitch. This is only a platform for them to move up to the next step. That's what they're doing. They're like, okay, I can create a story here, and I can pitch it as my idea to hopefully get approved by some big industry project. When guys like your Everetts and your Ditkos and Liebers, or even the McFarlanes of the world, they were getting involved just to write books. They just happened to, get lucky and get their stuff turned into other mediums later on. They were all in it for the actual books. Even Liefeld didn't predict that he was going to have this big hit on his head. He just thought, I'm obsessed with Spider-Man, Deathstroke, and I'm going to rip off those two shamelessly and create Deadpool, because that's basically what Deathstroke is. He's Spider-Man and Deadpool, so he ripped them off, and he came up with a creation that just happened to get big. And you know what? I mean, in that sense, good for him. But he still does like the medium. He is still all about, even despite all success, he still looks at the medium as this is still the go-to thing. And there are guys who are way under him, and you got the Vidals who are way under Liefeld, and they think it's all about what big project you leech on, where Liefeld's I was like, no, the root of it all is still at the comics. How do I know he's still about the book? He's always talked about those weekly spinners every week on his Twitter. Go look at the receipts. Dig through his feed. They are there.
No, and I think White Knight puts it best here as far as to wrap up our portion of this discussion. He argues that DC needs McFarlane more than he needs them. Exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. At this point, it's a situation where he's best, where he's in control, and he's got full control of the wheel, and not letting DC breathe down his, or Warner in this case, breathe down his neck. So yeah, let's get to these super chats though. We got some more here. We got this one already, but Night of Snake actually had a question for us. Will Zaslav's changes to Warner Brothers content mean the writing becomes better, even with non-woke stuff, so like more coherent writing with little to no plot and answering major questions the fans ask for? Thanks. I think it'll get back to more traditional style of writing, I think. I don't know what you guys think, but the woke factor is just one of those things where it put the... I hate using the term identity because it's not really the identity, but it's the things that the certain aspects that a person identifies with, let's say, to the forefront instead of the actual person themselves or the character themselves, or in this case, superhero themselves. It's more, the color of their skin is more important than the color of their cape. Then that's a problem, right? That's where I think you're going into the wrong direction. If you're worried more about that, then yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'd say it's too early to tell.
All right.
Yeah,
I think, honestly, besides it being too early to tell, and this is going to be a little bit of a prediction, I don't see this stuff going away for about a decade. I know that's not the answer people want to hear. And trust me, I hate a lot of this identity, PC, woke, intersectional, all the terms. Trust me, I'm not a fan of it like most of you all are in the chat and on the panel. I get it. But a lot of these people who got involved in these positions of power to get there, a lot of them are not going to go down without a fight. And we now have a generation, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but a culture that is shaped by this. So we need to pass by this whole entire phase in order to move away from this. So it's going to be a bit. These people are not going to go down without a fight. And just because you remove it, let's just say it gets successfully removed from WB overnight, you still got so many more major movie studios and just major institutions in general outside of movies to shape this cultural shift. It's going to be a bit, but
yeah,
guys, it will happen. We got to be vigilant, and to some degree, we got to be patient with it, as frustrating as it is, and be positive. Do not get black-pilled. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Just be abrasive.
There's a reason why it can't go 10 years, because they cannot financially afford to let this go another 10 years.
WB can't, but I'm talking about the whole world in general. Like I said, WB will probably be one of the first with the way they're going, but I'm talking about it. Even with WB changing, it's not going to be enough, because you need this is a whole generation.
Oh, you mean like the entire cultural phenomenon of the woke
exactly.
stuff?
This has become.
Then I probably do. Then I do agree with you.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to, because it's not just about Warner Brothers. What's happening here is obviously bigger than just Warner Brothers. All right,
I have a hope that we'll go a little faster, and I think certain people might help push that along. And honestly, I think McFarlane's a good move, right? Because he's one of the least woke motherfuckers I know. Remember, they just tried to cancel him a few months ago because he said
that didn't work.
He's like, female characters don't fucking sell.
Yeah.
And they're like,
he was very civil on it.
He's like, it's just a fucking fact of the matter. He's like,
he tried to actually test it. He said he took a chance. He wanted to see how it would work, and it didn't work. So you can't say he didn't try.
He's like, oh yeah, Wonder Woman, certain characters, yeah, they definitely will always sell. But he's like, when you have, let's say, this is not the way exactly he said it, but I'm kind of paraphrasing here. Basically, he basically said, you have a group of characters. The one that's the female character 9 times out of 10 is going to undersell compared to the rest. So when you're sitting there and you have 12 characters to work with, but you're only going to make 6 characters, sometimes it's an easy decision to leave out that female character, is all he was kind of saying.
When I went to pick up my PS5 in April, or when was it? Was it March or April of last year? They had stacks of Captain Marvel figures. I still have her behind me. She's somewhere on my back wall. They were literally handing them out for anyone that picked up a console. They were on sale, then they were on closeout, then they were just giving them away because they had this huge. And literally, Tom, they were stacked in boxes like in a pyramid right by the counter. And I was in line because we all picked up our consoles at the same time. The line was out the door. All of us that pre-ordered our PS5s, and literally they were like. So when I got to the front, I'm like, I didn't know this came with it. He's like, it doesn't. We're just giving them away. I'm like, okay.
Because it's either that or throw them in the garbage. We don't need somebody getting fucking stupid and trying to dumpster dive, and then we get sued.
Yeah, so I have a Captain Marvel action figure.
Lord Almighty, you tell us that's an elaborate story. I think that's made up.
No, you want me to go get it? You know what? Hold on, I'll go get it right now.
He bought it, and he's trying to come up with an excuse.
Why would I buy it? No.
Because I know you, Mike, in the female form.
No. Read that super chat. I'll be right back. I'm so upset right
This man is like, when it comes to women, he's putty in their hands.
Oh, God.
They're not be talking about me. Give it back.
Women can get him to do anything.
I see the thing moving.
Bop Boop says, speaking of Zack Snyder, do you think Rebel Moon will be good and be the franchise Netflix have been looking for? Thanks for being the best show ever. Well, thank you. I don't know if we're the best show ever, but I appreciate that. As far as Rebel Moon, it could be fun. I know it's for those who don't know what Rebel Moon is, that was Zack Snyder's pitch for a Star Wars idea that he never got to do. So he went and turned it into his own thing. In that respect, it might be interesting. Now, I didn't hear very good things about his Army of the Dead movie, which I'm I was kind of been like, oh, that might be all right, because I didn't mind his Dawn of the Dead remake, which I know is kind of sacrilege, but sue me, it wasn't that bad. But I'm beginning to realize it was probably more to do with James Gunn than anything, because him writing that script probably had a lot to do with that movie being good. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll be fun. What do you guys think?
He can't create anything. He all he does is destroy the creations of others. So I wouldn't hold out any hope whatsoever. But I'm just,
well, at least this way, it's its own
yeah.
version of it. So
yeah, fine. Oh, yeah, that's the good thing. At least he won't be destroying anyone else's character in this. So good for him. Good on way to grow.
What's going to be funny though, Klobby, is if it's fucking awesome and we're like, we could have had a Star Wars movie like this.
Yeah, that would be funny.
That's going to be the funny, ironic part, probably.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it like this. It won't be as horrific as anything by Rowan Johnson or the sequel trilogy. So that in that respect, I'll agree with you. It could be just typical Snyder pap and not be that bad level. So yeah, I mean, fair enough.
I hate to put it this way, but that's kind of what Star Wars needs instead of these auteur directors like Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams actually made sense, but you got to give him a good script. You need these brain dead fuckers who will just do whatever's on the page. But you need somebody who can put something on the page that the fans will resonate with. That's the problem.
J.J. Abrams never made sense in his life, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's my point is like guys like Zack Snyder, Michael Bay, J.J. Abrams, they're great visionaries. If you give them something to work with, oh my God, that's a crotch.
Well,
why do you have that?
So that's not even really the Captain Marvel from the movie. That's the comic version.
Yeah, that's actually a maquette type thing. It's not like an action figure, is it? Just like a statue thingy.
Yeah, they were giving them away for free though with every console that you picked up.
We know why you bought that.
Too bad.
Why?
You can see it. She's fucking banging, dude. Look at that.
Yeah, she looks good. No, I mean, I don't even like that costume for Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers. But yeah, it's that looks good.
Very well formed.
That's really good. Yeah, I respect you on that one, Mike. Keep it.
Yeah.
For free? Hell.
Shit. Yeah, because that's like a $30, $40 statue, it looks like.
Yeah,
probably.
It's not like it's a Marvel Legends crappy figure where she's got looks like
the Brie Google Larson. Eyes?
Yeah, it's not like she looks like Brie Larson or anything.
Oh, Lord. Goddess of Women's in the house. How you doing? Did you guys see a poster was released for the Quantum Leap reboot? Yeah, it looks horrible. Oh, it sounds like the exact opposite of the original report about the daughters. Oh, yeah. I got a script of it.
Oh.
And it was horrible. And they had Sam in the original script, but NBC did not want him in the show for some reason.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Get rid of your most popular,
right?
reason for anyone to watch the show. You wouldn't want people to want to watch it or anything.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with Ernie Hudson being a part of it, but other than that, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it in the least bit at all. It comes out in less than a month. It's dropping on NBC, and it's going to fail miserably, sadly.
Yes, sir. It will.
Or, well, wasted time and effort, yeah. Which could have been cool, because they really could have done a really cool updated version, because Sam never got to come home. It'd have been nice to have like this thing, like it's X amount years later, and they're like, you know what, we got this guy stuck in this program. We need to get him out, kind of thing.
Bakula probably would have done it if it had a decent script or anything, but yeah.
Oh yeah, he sounded interested. That was the problem. He's like, they never even reached out to me.
No. Yeah. Why do we want the guy that would be the main draw for the show? Because we can't have that.
Well, there's rumors about his politics. Let's say.
He does.
I don't know for sure, but let's just say there's rumors.
I did not. I don't know that.
Doesn't he kind of seem like a little bit of a good old boy, though?
He does. He does make that New Orleans. Was it that show down here in New Orleans, CSI New Orleans, where he fakes that terrible New Orleans Cajun accent? No, I love Scott Bakula, but I'm one of the few who loves Enterprise.
I don't know if I can see him doing a Cajun accent either. Honestly, I've never seen it, so
I've heard him talk a couple times. I'm like, Scott, dude. Of course, that's the thing with us down here anyway. When people come and they set these shows in New Orleans, and they get actors from other parts of the country, let's say, and trying to assimilate the New Orleans Cajun accent and stuff like that. So they try to talk like they talk down in the bayou, and they just can't do it, Sean. You know what I'm saying? And it's terrible.
Yeah, that's true, Sean. I'm sure Ernie said, well, if there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
I'll film anything you say.
I will shoot anything. Mecca J says some of the Snyder fans really didn't make themselves look good. going out there and defending actors like Ray Fisher, Ezra, and Amber Turd. Oh, yeah, there's that, too. There is that, too. Let's not forget. But Huron of Alexandria, I now have the Simpsons Dr. Zaius song stuck in my...
Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius.
Now, thanks. Now we all...
I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee. No, you'll never make a monkey out of me. Oh my God. Look, I was wrong. It was Earth all along. Yeah, we really made a monkey out of me. I love that.
Nicely
I got the
done,
shirt.
Tom.
I got the shirt too that says, "Please stop the Planet of the Apes. I want to get off." It's got the poster with Troy McClure and everything on it. It's fucking amazing.
Oh man, love it.
I love that. That was one of my favorite episodes back in the day. It was like Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. What's sad is that was like 20 years ahead of its time. Let's be real, because that's exactly what they're doing now. They just keep taking these movies and they like make jukebox musicals out of them. And it's like, what the fuck, man? I can't believe they haven't done Planet of the Apes yet.
Oh my goodness. Yep.
I heard Back to the Future was pretty bad. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but yeah.
What? Which one?
Yeah, you didn't hear they did Back to the Future, the musical.
Who did?
They're doing Karate Kid, the musical. They're doing a bunch of them.
You mean like?
Yeah.
You mean movies in the work? You mean?
No, like Broadway plays type shit.
Oh my God! No, are you serious? Oh, good. Well,
yeah.
Which Footloose kind of made sense. That was one of the only ones that kind of made sense to me. It's like, all right, you know.
I guess you can't be worse than Steve Rogers, the musical.
Oh God. I
Yeah.
still hear rumors every once in a while that we may get that on Disney Plus at some point.
No.
Like they've actually filmed enough of it and shit that
We're gonna do it. I'm just prepare yourself.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
They've done it. They've got to. Here's the thing: we are not on their mindsets anymore with the demographic. They want to appeal to normies, whether it's the Dancing with the Stars types or the
fucking
Miley
Glee
Cyrus types, the Glee types. They're looking at, AKA those
Clocky
types,
knew what I
the
meant.
Youngins.
What about
they started this shit.
What about Warhammer the musical?
It's on the way. It's in the works.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah, right. They will neuter the fuck out of Warhammer just to get a musical out of it, and be like, Warhammer is for everybody.
Hannibal the musical.
It's probably already been done somewhere.
Don't understand me. You think I'm mean. I may eat your face with Chianti and fava bean, but deep down, inside, I'm nice.
What about Friday the 13th?
I'll eat your face with cheese and rice.
Friday the 13th, the musical's probably already been made.
Probably. I actually wrote half of a musical once, Night of the Living Dead, the musical.
No.
Well, I mean, it was a joke more so than like it's a comedy, but like, yeah, it was just like, yeah. But I never got anywhere with it. I wrote like 4 songs, something like that. Pretty much the same story as the movie, just a little bit differently.
I'd listen to it.
Well, the only difference is instead of it being just kind of like an abandoned house or whatever in the original Night of the Living Dead, there's like a bunch of teenagers having a party in the woods at a house, and they end up at that house instead. So you have a lot more characters, that's why. So that's the only difference, but yeah.
There you go.
But it all has to take place in one area, right? So it's it's a musical, it's a play, it's I started writing that like 10, 15 years ago, seriously. Oh, maybe it wasn't that long ago, because I do bring up The Walking Dead. Because like in the main song, it's like, it's not The Walking Dead, it's the original Romero something or other. And it's in the original, like it's a very satirical play. Like it's very fourth wall breaking kind of shit. Like it might have been something, who knows? I was kind of thinking like Little Shop of Horrifying it, basically, you know? Like just taking it to that satirical level. But anyway, for those who don't know, Little Shop of Horrors was actually a black and white 80-minute film from Harvey Korman that he famously shot in 24 hours. or 48 Hours. I can't remember which.
One of Roger Corman's first, wasn't it?
Yeah, early films, and then it got, of course, remade into a Broadway musical, and then it got even bigger than it ever was before with the movie. Which is one of the few remakes I actually prefer the remake. The original is good; it's got an interesting story, but the remake did it better, as far as I'm concerned.
Indeed, a rarity.
A rarity, indeed. Heron, sorry about that. We try, though. Lord Kamina 2 says, I hated that WW musical whenever she appeared.
Wonder Woman.
The Wonder Woman.
Oh, the
song.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder
Music,
Woman.
yeah.
Oh, no. How could you hate the Wonder Woman music?
I love that music.
I love it.
Oh, that shit gets stuck in your head like a motherfucker.
Nick, how did it go?
All the world is waiting for you.
All the world
It
is
would be
waiting.
good as a very. It would be a very good, like traditional wave heavy metal
Stop
song.
war with love.
That opening part would be a very great guitar riff.
Hawker Dove, defend that old red, white, and blue. Sorry, I know the words.
Mexican Iron Man is
Wonder
naked and
Woman.
waiting for you.
I love that song.
Sorry.
No, I know. That was a great theme song.
And the opening visual credits are great too. The comic book,
Yeah. It's cheesy as fuck, but
I love it.
Linda Carter was amazing, though. Willie the Epic Monkey King says, Tom, I should get out of YouTube retirement just to have a rant debate on the Snyder Cut DC films. It would be fun. Mike, too. Oh, are you a fan, Willie? I'm so sorry.
He's someone. Hey! I saw that.
That was more against Mike. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god!
Honestly, Willie, it would be fun maybe, but I've really kind of debated those movies to death.
Yeah, I'm kind of tapped out on them.
To be fair,
that's what Clobby says,
wait.
and then it comes up. He beats me even harder.
I can't wait for December.
I
can't wait for December just so I can get past this shit. Just in the hopes that whatever happens, we can just go. It's over with. It's done with. We're past it. You know, like it's just, I've had enough. E. Clay Thomason says, my great wish is an Apache Chief movie possible.
That's a Super Friends reference.
Probably more of a chance now than you ever had before, to be honest with you. But I don't know how good it would be because it'd be woke as fuck, I bet.
Yeah, it would. Not so sure how that would play out. But for those who don't know, it's a Super Friends reference and a cool one. So.
I would have loved one like 20 years ago with the guy from Predator in it. That would have been amazing. What's his name? Played Billy. Shit.
Billy Bear from 48 Hours. But I can't
Yeah.
Billy Bear.
He'd have made at least my opinion, he'd have made a great one.
Yeah,
but
I can't remember the dude's name though.
Yeah, but he's just the right look, just the right size, everything, the right voice.
The only two movies that was ever even in of note, probably.
I think he's done a few more, but you're probably right.
Yeah. Like big ones though.
Yeah, but those are probably his two biggest, most well-known ones. Yeah, probably.
Billy Bear.
They did. It's called Prey. I'm surprised that. Look at all the love Apache Chief's getting in the chat, though. Wow, cool. Adam Wolford says, also, could this help Todd get into the studio so he can make his Spawn movie? Oh, he already made it. As far as I know, I think it's done and shot already.
A new one?
Yeah, it's got Jamie Foxx in it, and I heard the script is so-so, but I was worried because at first he's like, yeah, it's more from the point of view of this other character, and Spawn is more of a ghost figure in the movie. It's kind of, so I have no idea what the fuck Todd's doing with this. I don't think so either. I'll hold some judgment out until I see a trailer, but as cool of a character as Spawn is, again, that's another one that's like, just do what you did in the animated version. just do that.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that's pretty much it on that one. I don't think, but as far as the studio side of things, I don't think he's really that interested in it, to be honest with you, is what I was saying before, too. Hillis Mallory says, Nick, what is going on with Angela and who has the rights to the character at the moment?
Now, is he talking about DC Angela?
I would assume
Cruella?
so, probably.
I mean,
maybe.
if so, I don't think that character's been used in quite some time in the recent books. And if she has been, it has to have been to a lighter extent because before, I had jumped off right after Hawkman finished his book in 2019. I was reading a lot of the Rebirth stuff, and I don't think, to my knowledge, because I barely looked at the Screw 52. I I don't know. I mean, she was definitely not.
He's talking about the
used a
Spawn
lot.
Angela.
Well,
As far as I
Spawn?
know, then Todd should still join.
Well, he owns
Todd
it.
should,
He
I was gonna
owns
say
it.
Todd should own it flat out. Yeah.
Oh, sadly, there's a DC and a Marvel and an Image, and I always forget about the Image. I think she's still used to this day. I mean, I'm not the biggest, most knowledgeable guy on Spawn, but
No, but McFarlane made sure he owned all those characters.
She's
like
involved.
he's very
involved.
protective of
He's
them.
involved. Yeah. She's in safe hands. Put it that way. She's
No,
in better
again,
hands than the DC or Marvel Angelas.
I can't speak to it though because I haven't read a comic in I don't know how many years as far as news. Although I did get Superman 78 and Batman 88 in the mail finally.
Be wary with the Batman one.
I heard it was kind of. Hillis Mallory says, Nick, what is going on? Oh, we got this one already. Sorry. Planner Aspect says, we're dealing with people who see race as a plot. Yes, that's the problem.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's
every studio. That's
these
why
motherfuckers need to go watch
Shaft.
Shaft, the original Shaft, just to remind them of what a good movie is about. And it doesn't have to be all about race.
They'll try to cancel it. We just gotta make sure that they're not in a position of power, and then they'll be nothing more than this will be remembered as the dark ages of Hollywood. Like I hope there's a movie that comes out 30, 35 years down the road of this time to show how everything went horribly wrong, and I hope it's made as a comedy, just so I can at least laugh at this stuff rather than be.
It's already been made. It's called Idiocracy. But
the
speaking
one that
of
Mike
dark
Judge
times,
is not proud of.
Yeah, well, actually, he's pretty fairly. He just talked about it again with Rogan. Yeah, Rogan was praising the hell out of it. Yeah.
Well, Rogan was, but
he was like, yeah, this, that. And he's still like, yeah, they just didn't understand it at the time, but he was kind of talking about how far ahead of things he was a little bit there. Yeah. That's a great interview with him if you haven't checked it out.
Oh, excellent.
But speaking of dark times and power, The Rings of Power starts in about 8 minutes on Amazon. So Mike here is he's ready for it. Isn't that right? You are the Mexican Iron Elf. You're
yes, Tom.
What the fuck?
As a special correspondent for Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark, I invite everyone here on behalf of the Mexican elf community to watch the show tonight. We are going to have diversity and inclusion and representation. And as the first Mexican Afro-Latino elf on Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark, I would like to invite all of you to please let us take a journey. Let us meet at the Misty Mountains, at the taco truck down by the River Brunnen, so that we may join hands at Riverdale and watch this amazing show that is coming on tonight. On behalf of the Afro-Latino elf community, I invite all of you to watch the show tonight. Thank you, Tom Connors. Thank you.
When did Mexican Yoda get here?
No, I'm an elf. I'm an elf.
Oh, you're an elf.
These are elf. No, not an
you had
elf.
a hood on and stuff.
These are elf ears. Look, I even. Oh wait,
those are Spock ears.
Mr. Connors, I am so sorry. You are offending me. These are official elf ears, and I even got them to match.
Why are they in the back instead of the front?
Them to match my skin color. You see?
Why are you wearing a fro?
Because I'm an Afro-Latino elf.
Oh, Lord.
For diversity and inclusion, I'm an Afro.
Is it blackface if Mike does it?
Hello, everyone in the chat stream. Hello.
I'm not sure if that's okay.
We have a bit. I'm not Mexican Iron Yoda. Whoever wrote that, Steve Anderson. White Knight. I am not Mexican Spock. I am an Afro-Latino elf.
I'm not saying shit.
See you
He's a BIPOC elf.
See you tonight.
I guess Mike is ready to watch the show here.
I guess.
Oh my God, Mrs. Doubtfire Elf.
Hey, what? Jay, was that
and scissors with runs has to correct you. It's Afro Latinx. You bigot. Taco Gandalf. Oh Lord. Willie is here and says, this is for Mike. Iron Yoda is pure fire.
I am an elf.
Oh, that was great. Thank you, Mike. I needed that entertainment for tonight.
That's to get you guys to clear
Off
the
your feet,
palate.
I will sweep you, mamacita.
Oh man.
Babaloo.
Babaloo.
See, Mike being an Iron Yoda elf is so much better than whatever fanfic trash you're about to get in 5 minutes.
No shit.
I'll watch that for 8 hours over the last X amount of years of fan fiction.
According to Mr. Chickle Trunk, we missed a or a member sticker from JF's Maximum. I thought we read this, but I'm going to read it again. Hey, apparently I was gifted a membership on a stream I didn't even watch. That's the only good news from this week. I'm not impressed by Rings of Power. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we read that already, but thank you again, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for reminding me. And then we got Gonzalo Bergali, who says, can we see Mexican Yoda again?
Oh, shoot. I already took off the... Hold on.
Just rewind the stream.
I have
a feeling you may make a few returns in the next few days.
Hello. I will see you all at Riverdale. Hello.
Make sure is your resolution at 1080p or is it like you look 480p to me.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to do these things.
You go to your settings and you go to your camera and then you go to your camera resolution.
Oh, let's go high def. You ready? Here we go.
Yeah, okay, we got to see what you really look like.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hello.
Why is it feminine? I don't
Because
understand.
I'm an elf.
So all elves are feminine?
Well,
even if they're Afro-Latinx?
Yeah, we're all kind of sensitive.
You're very sensitive.
Man, this elf is kind of being weird.
Hello,
oh, there we go. It's finally caught up. Oh my gosh.
Big nights.
I can see the hairnet now.
This elf.
That's why I had a 480.
Oh shit! Paulie's like, what the fuck? I did not put him up to this, Paulie. This is all Mike.
I didn't even ask for permission.
No, he's just like, when I do this, just say this, and I'm like, all right. I had no idea what he was gonna do. That's a MILF.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Oh Lord. And then Hillis Mallory says, Mexican Iron Elf, maximum effort. Yes, indeed.
Iron Elf.
That is amazing.
Oh, that was good. I didn't know I needed that so badly until now. And then Polly's blaming Hispanic heritage month. I blame it too. Oh Lord.
With that,
yeah, actually, I think that's a good place as any, because I'm sure a lot of you guys want to go watch Lord of the Rings or Bore of the Rings or whatever you want to call it. God, I'm not in any hurry to go watch it, but anyway, Clobby, you got anything coming up? I'm sure you do in the next day or two. You want to plug or whatever?
Well, in about an hour, I'll be going on with Clobby's Clubhouse. We just finished Jack Kirby month last month, and this month will be kind of Star Trek month. A week from tonight, we'll be celebrating Star Trek Day on the Clubhouse. But in the meantime, Saturday night Star Trek. Still just getting into the second season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, reviewing 4 more episodes this week. Same Trek time, same Clobby channel, 9 p.m. Central always. And yeah, that's about it there. So, and just thanks for having me, man. It's great to be.
Oh, we love
talking.
My best
buddies on here, and what a great chat. Great chat. Good to see you.
Yeah, I always love to have your insight, and it's always a blast to get to hang out with you and
thank you, sir. Chum
around, just like it is with this gentleman here, Mr. Nick Weiser, one of the closest men to me on the internet right now that I know of, but we're still so far apart.
I like it, right?
You're so far away from me.
Don't worry. When we have pizza together, the bonding will escalate.
So
One day
far away from me.
It'll be huge. But
so
yeah,
far,
Tom, seriously.
I just can't see.
Thank you for having me. This is an absolutely very fun show to be a part of, especially for guys like Clobby and I, where we could just go off on comic book stuff. And I appreciate the chat and the mods, and I appreciate those in the chat who disagree, and we can still be civil. I gotta give respect to them as well, because that goes a long way, and that's why I always separate Snyder fans and Snyder cultists, because there are fans who can hate what you say but still be civil. So that is all good. So appreciate that. I heard that Tom makes. Oh, dude, huge. In so many ways, it's huge. It's but anyways, yeah, I have a channel. D-Bud Martin plugged it in the chat. Thank you, D-Bud. Tomorrow night, me, Klobby, and a few others will be doing our usual comic shop talk. And I will also have either out tomorrow before the comic shop show or on Saturday, I'll have my review of the new Megadeth album, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. And on Toxic Tuesday, we will have, oh my God. Oh, what's it called for Michael Douglas? Black Rain is the flick we'll be talking.
Chocolate Rain.
Oh, I can't wait.
Anybody remember that?
You can find me on here, and you can find me, of course, yelling at park cars with Comics Division, the Dix Boys. So, yeah, thanks for having me, Tom. Mike, thank you for being an Iron Elf, MILF thing, whatever. That was great. Klobby, always good to shoot the shit.
Yeah, buddy.
Tom,
good to see you.
Your voice is wondrous.
Boy, those Dix boys sure got their dicks stuck in a tree knot this time. The sheriff is pissed, and they're about to learn what for. God, I miss Dukes of Hazzard.
Like 2 Monday Remnants. Nice review.
Daramuth says, did you see Nerdrotic's review of Rings of Power, Tom? I did see his first reaction of it or whatever on Twitter, and I sat in and listened to a little bit of his review when I didn't have much time, though, so I didn't get to listen to much of it. But I'm not surprised, as I reposted on Twitter when he's like, it's horrible or whatever. I'm like, oh, so water is wet after all. So, yeah. We got the answer, kids. Not that I think anybody is surprised. It was one of the most unsurprising events of the last year, I guess I would say. But we have Beavis and Butt-Head to balance it. So. Yes. Yep. And Dearest sent us a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up on your way out of the room here. We appreciate that. And yes, Dicks of Hazzard. Just good old boys. Never meaning no harm. Fucking all the trees they saw been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Making their way the only way they know how.
Yeehaw!
Man.
That's just a little bit more than a law of life. I'm a good old boy.
Man, my wiener's getting weird from how moved I am by these songs.
Okay, I gotta let Bambino out.
All right, Mikey, you got anything coming up real quick you want to plug?
No, check out. We did a lot of stuff on Latino.
You gonna make it to the morning show tomorrow?
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Miss you more. Good night,
Tell
everybody.
Bambino I love him.
Watch Latino Slant. We did a lot of stuff yesterday.
Yeah, they talked to Edward James Olmos again. I'm jelly. But hopefully we can figure out that reunion, Paulie. We need to get on that before it's too late. It's already September.
Someone's asking about She-Hulk. It sucked in the story.
Oh, yeah, our reviews of She-Hulk. It sucked.
It's garbage. It's
garbage.
Still valiantly holding on to this fight to remain garbage.
Daramu sent in $2 and says, roll us out, Tom. Woohoo. I don't know if I'd say woohoo, but I did for you. So woohoo.
Twerk Hulk.
Yeah, the twerking scene was about as cringe as you can get it. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
and me, as far as me, I don't know if I'll pop up somewhere later or not tonight. I might do some MEAD radio at some point. Who knows? Other than that, I will see you in the morning show. We got a couple videos we just dropped. Check them out if you haven't had a chance to yet. And yeah, I'm sure I'll, if I even sit through all of Lord of the Rings, I'm sure I'll pop up somewhere letting people know what I think of it. So with that, let's get the fuck out of here. What do y'all say?
Yes, sir. Good night, everybody.
Let's do it.
Night,
Bye,
kids.
everyone. Thanks for being.